The wedding on Lake Co was supposed to be my sister's triumph. 50 missed calls in one night. I thought my parents were calling to brag about the ring. When I finally answered, I found out the celebration had gone off the rails, events that didn't fit in my head. But before the chaos, there was just the quiet hum of my refrigerator in Chicago and the blue light of my phone screen illuminating my dark living room. It was 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, and I was watching my family burn money they didn't have in real time. My sister Monica had been posting stories for 48 hours straight. There she was, twirling in a dress that cost more than my first car, standing on the terrace of a 17th-century villa that overlooked the dark, glassy water of Co. She looked perfect, manufactured but perfect. Next to her was Giovanni, the wealthy Italian heir she'd met on a dating app 3 months ago. He looked less like a groom and more like a man held hostage, his smile tight and his eyes darting away from the camera. I scrolled past a video of my mother clinking crystal glasses with a countess who looked suspiciously like a hired actor. My stomach churned. I knew the math. I was a senior financial analyst. Numbers were my language. And the numbers of my parents' life had been in the red for a decade. They had refinanced their home twice. They had maxed out 4 credit cards just to fly to Italy. And yet, here they were, pretending to be royalty. I had refused to go. I had a merger to close. I'd lied. The truth was I couldn't watch. I couldn't watch them fawn over Monica, the golden child, while I knew they were one missed payment away from foreclosure. I couldn't watch them treat me like a ghost unless they needed a wire transfer. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. Maddie, sweetie, the caterer is being difficult. His card machine is down. Can you Venmo me $2,000 just for an hour? Dad will pay you back as soon as we get to the bank. I stared at the message. The broken card machine excuse. Classic. It was the same lie they used when they needed bail money for my brother Paul last year. It was the same lie they used when Monica accidentally bought a handbag she couldn't afford. I typed back. No. I told you I'm not funding the circus. 3 dots danced on the screen. Then a reply from Monica. You're just jealous because I'm happy and you're alone with your spreadsheets. Don't bother coming to the reception if you change your mind. I felt a sharp, familiar pang in my chest, the old wound of being the responsible one, the boring one, the wallet. I didn't reply. I simply engaged Do Not Disturb, plugged my phone into the charger, and turned off the lamp. I told myself I was done. I had drawn a line. I was safe in Chicago, thousands of miles away from their delusions. I closed my eyes, believing that the worst thing that could happen was a maxed-out credit card and a few angry text messages in the morning. I was wrong. I woke up to a heart attack, not a literal one, but the kind of adrenaline spike that hits you when you see the time, 3:17 a.m., and the notifications stacked on your lock screen like a wall of bricks. 50 missed calls, 12 voicemails, 84 text messages. The breakdown was terrifying. Mom, 20 calls. Dad, 15 calls. Paul, 10 calls. Even Monica had called 5 times. The texts were a garbled stream of panic. Pick up. Emergency. Police. Answer the damn phone, Meline. My hands shook as I unlocked the screen. The silence of my apartment felt heavy, oppressive. I pressed the callback button for my father. He answered on the first ring. Meline. He didn't sound like himself. His voice was an octave too high, cracked and breathless. In the background, I heard shouting in Italian, the squawk of a police radio, and the unmistakable sound of my mother sobbing, a deep guttural wail that made my skin crawl. Dad, what's going on? Is someone hurt? I sat up, clutching the duvet. It's a disaster, he choked out. Everything is gone. Giovanni, that bastard, left. What do you mean he left? I asked. He's gone. He took the cash gifts. He took the jewelry. He took the rental car. He wasn't an heir, Meline. He was a waiter from Naples with a record. He left Monica at the altar, practically. Okay, I said, my analyst brain trying to find order in the chaos. That's terrible. But why are the police there? Did you file a report? No. They're not here for him. Dad stammered. They're here for us. What? Paul and Mom? They didn't take the news? Well, there was damage. To find damage, he whispered. Dad, the villa? They started throwing things, expensive things. A statue, some paintings. The owners called the carabinieri. They've arrested Paul. They have Monica in a room. They took our passports, Meline. They won't let us leave the country. I rubbed my temples, trying to process the sheer stupidity of it. So, you need a lawyer. Call the embassy. We don't have time for the embassy, he snapped, panic turning into aggression. They're going to transfer Paul and Monica to a holding cell in Milan if we don't pay the damages and the fines immediately. Tonight. Right now. How much? I asked, though I already knew I wouldn't pay it. Euro 25,000, he said. Cash or immediate wire. The owner agreed to drop the criminal vandalism charges if we pay for the restoration. Otherwise, your sister goes to prison. Meline. Italian prison. I don't have 25,000 euro lying around at 3 a.m. Dad, you have savings. You have that investment account. He was shouting. Now, this is your sister. She's hysterical. She's in a wedding dress, surrounded by cops. You have to help us. We are your family. I told you I wasn't paying for this wedding, I said, my voice trembling. I told you it was a bad idea. I told you Giovanni looked shady. Stop lecturing me, he screamed. The sound of something heavy slamming against a table echoed through the phone. We need the money. Wire it now, or we are dead. Do you hear me? Dead. I felt the guilt, heavy and suffocating, trying to wrap its hands around my throat. It was the programming they had installed in me since birth. Fix it, Meline. Clean up the mess, Meline. But then I looked at my empty apartment, the sanctuary I had built with my own hard work. I can't do it, Dad, I said softly. Use the credit cards you used to book the villa. There was a silence on the other end. A long, terrifying silence. We can't, he whispered. Why not? You said you had a high limit. Just call your bank, Meline. Please authorize the transfer. We'll pay you back. I swear on my life. Something in his tone set off an alarm in my head. It wasn't just desperation, it was evasion. Just call your bank? Why was he so specific? Dad, I said slowly. Why can't you use your cards? You booked the villa weeks ago. You showed me the confirmation. The cards are maxed. Okay. We maxed them on the flights and the catering. He was talking too fast. Look, I'll send you the wire details. Just do it. Hold on. I pulled the phone away from my ear and put it on speaker. I opened my laptop. My fingers flew across the keyboard as I logged into my primary banking portal. Meline, are you doing it? I'm checking something, I muttered. I logged into my credit monitoring service. I hadn't checked it in a month because my finances were on autopilot. The dashboard loaded. A bright red banner flashed at the top of the screen. Alert! New account opened 14 days ago. Creditor. Banca Nazionale del Lavoro. Type. Personal line of credit. Balance. 18,000 euros. My breath hitched. I clicked on the details. The inquiry had come from an IP address in Illinois, my parent house, 2 weeks ago. Then another inquiry, a rental agreement check. I felt the blood drain from my face, leaving me cold and dizzy. I looked at the Villa del Baionello rental contract attached to the inquiry. The name on the lease wasn't Steve or Nancy. It was Malene J. Harper. My signature was scrawled at the bottom. A clumsy forgery, loops a little too wide, but close enough to pass a casual inspection. Dad, I said, my voice deadly calm. Who is the renter of record for the villa? What does it matter? We need the money. Who signed the lease, Dad? Heavy breathing on the line. Then my mother's voice cut in, shrill and frantic. She must have grabbed the phone. We didn't have a choice, Maddie. Your credit score is perfect. You never use it. We were going to pay it off with the wedding gifts. Giovanni said his family would cover the venue. You stole my identity, I said. The words tasted like ash. You didn't just spend your money. You opened a line of credit in my name. You rented a historical landmark in my name. We did it for the family, Mom screamed. Don't you dare get self-righteous with me. If you don't pay this, you are the one liable. The contract is in your name. If we don't pay the damages, the police will come after you for the debt. They'll ruin your career. You'll lose your license. I sat frozen. The trap had snapped shut. They weren't asking for a bailout. They were asking me to cover up a felony to save myself. If I paid the 25,000 euros, I was acknowledging the debt as mine. I was accepting the fraud. I would be paying to fix a villa I had never set foot in, for a wedding I had advised against, to save people who saw me as nothing more than a credit score with a pulse. You trapped me, I whispered. We saved you the trouble of worrying, Dad said, his voice hard now. Now be a good daughter. Wire the money. Save your sister. Save yourself. If we go down, you go down with us. The lease says Malene Harper. The police have that paper. I looked at the glowing screen of my laptop. I looked at the red alert banner. I looked at the forgery of my own name. For 30 years, I had been the safety net. I had caught them when they fell, dusted them off, and paid the bill. I thought that was love. I realized in the cold light of 3:30 a.m. that it wasn't love. It was a hostage situation. They thought they had checkmated me. They thought my fear of ruining my credit, my fear of scandal, my fear of losing my CPA license would force me to open my wallet one last time. They were banking on my shame. But they forgot one thing. I was an analyst. I knew how to mitigate risk. And the biggest risk to my future wasn't the Italian police. It was the people on the other end of the phone. Put the officer on the phone, I said. What? Dad asked, confused. You want to talk to the police? You don't speak Italian. Put him on now, or I hang up and you get nothing. There was a scuffle. A moment later, a deep, weary voice said, Pronto, this is Capitano Rossi. Captain Rossi, I said, my voice steady, stripped of all emotion. My name is Malene Harper. I am currently in Chicago, Illinois, United States. I am recording this call. Sonora, your family says you are wiring the funds for the damages to the villa. No, Captain, I am not. I took a breath, inhaling the freedom that was about to come. I am reporting a crime. The people in your custody have stolen my identity. I did not sign that lease. I did not authorize that credit line. I have been in Chicago for the last 6 months. My passport will verify this. Meline, I heard my mother shriek in the background. It was a sound of pure terror. What are you doing? Shut up. Give me the phone. Captain, I continued, ignoring the screaming. I am contacting the U.S. consulate and my bank's fraud department immediately to flag these transactions as criminal activity. The people in your custody are responsible for the vandalism. Arrest them. Do whatever you have to do. Meline, please. Dad was begging now, sobbing brokenly. They'll put us in prison. They'll deport us. You can't do this to your own blood. I don't have a family, I said into the receiver. I have a fraud case. Understood, Sonora, the captain said. His tone had shifted from annoyance to professional alertness. We will proceed with the charges against the individuals present. Thank you. I hung up. I didn't give myself a moment to cry. I dialed the 24-hour fraud hotline for my bank and spent the next hour calmly explaining the situation, uploading copies of my passport stamps proving I was in the U.S., and flagging the unauthorized accounts. I locked my credit at all 3 bureaus. By the time I finished, the sun was beginning to bleed gray light through my blinds. My phone was still vibrating every few seconds, texts from my cousins, my aunts, my brother. How could you? You monster. Mom is fainting. They are putting handcuffs on Monica. I didn't read them. I selected all contacts. Mom, Dad, Monica, Paul, and every flying monkey they could possibly recruit, and press block. The silence that followed was absolute. It was the most expensive silence I had ever bought, costing me a family I never really had. I walked to the window and watched the city wake up. Somewhere in Italy, my sister was likely sitting on a metal bench in a ruined wedding dress, facing the consequences of her life for the first time. I went to the kitchen and made coffee. I drank it black, standing alone in my quiet, paid-for apartment. It tasted bitter, hot, and incredibly free.